doing some research project in Bali together with our other partner universities. So I believe that today, first thing first, Prof. Chesu, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to share your research experience with us. So I think without further ado, we'll start present. You can, before I can pass the floor to Prof. Chesu. Hold on. Okay, Prof. Chesu, maybe you want to start sharing your screen first.
Okay. Okay, Prof, hold on. Window.
Okay, hold on. Okay, Prof, we can see your now to the first slide and put on the presentation mode.
Okay, I will. Start now.
So basically today, Prof. Chesu will share with us about remote. So I believe interesting topics.
Dia sat Prof dah hilang.
Okay, never mind. Take your time. The topic will be on the need for the new communication strategies leading remotely. So Prof. Chesu actually one of the professors in College of Arts and Sciences in the University of
Dia tak boleh pula Prof pasal apa tak tahu. Dia tak boleh letak dalam presentation mode, tak tahu pasal apa sebab dia naik notification apa. Okay, now. Okay. Okay.
Boleh?
Ya. Prof nampak
okay. Okay, I think Prof. Chesu, with that introduction, I can now pass the floor to you. I can pass the screen to you right now. So it's all yours, Prof. Chesu.
Alright. Okay, so thank you, Prof. Chairperson. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everybody. Of course, before I start the presentation, I would like to thank AIU for giving me this opportunity to share my idea or maybe my thoughts on remote work communication. But before that, before I proceed, I have to salute Yang Berbahagia Prof. Dr. Rizal Effendi Cik Ismail as Deputy Vice Chancellor Abu Khari International University, all AIU staff, student, audience, ladies and gentlemen. So once again, like what Prof. Rizal said just now, I'm sharing with you about remote work communication and the need for new communication strategies to leading remotely. But first I have to ask, can you hear me very well, Prof? Prof?
Yes, we can hear. I can hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you for let me share my not my work actually. This is just an idea. Basically, my research is about people with disabilities, but the research is still at the very early stage, so I don't feel like sharing it yet. Therefore, I choose a topic that I feel quite new, quite near to us. That is about remote work communications, the need for new communication strategies. Why this remote work communication? First, when I was asked to give to involve in this talk series, during that time we are in the process of having another work from home. Therefore, I feel like first experience of having work from home, I found out that there are quite a few issues that I think is very important to be discussed, and there are some proactive action that need to be taken from the organization part in terms of improving, especially from communication perspective. And then as for UUM, we have another work from home for second time where the organization itself has been ada COVID issues, and then third time is we just come back to work, and it's already third time, and I still have the same experience and the same problem of this remote work communication issues, which I feel like we can share together what we have experienced and probably come out with a better work strategies from your experience and from my experience. But the discussion is limited in terms of communication perspective, since my area is communication. Okay, so before I proceed, let me first introduce to you what is communication. I think everybody know what communication is about. Basically, communication is the process of sending and receiving message between sender and receiver. So it is very basic definition of communication. And how does this relate to remote work? So I feel like communication issues is very important. One of it is because the pandemic issues and work from home order really it has an impact on the way we communicate, and will somehow also influence the way we interact with each other. So basically communication is a process that involves the sender who send the message, and then through what media that you use, and then what channel actually, and the response from the receiver. These are very basic communication concept, which communication plays a very important role in our daily life. And we also communicate by using verbal communication, like what we did just now, and also using non-verbal communication, like PowerPoint slide and all this written communication, etc., etc. And in order for organization to survive, communication plays important role. For example, we have to do discussion, we have meeting, we have email, we have letters, billboard, etc., etc. Like also this session, in order to make organization survive, in order to make organization fulfill the needs, and in order to make organization function as what it's expected to. Thus, I feel like communication is very important, and the skill between the employees to interact in organization also plays an important role. And I'm sharing with you about the role and forms of communication in organization context. So why communication is very important? Because communication also one of the important factors that determines the successful of organization. Every communication that occurs in organization, like outward communication, downward communication, feedback, horizontal, vertical, and all this make up a good environment in order for organization to be success. And then communication also promote motivation. If you can communicate well to your staff, and they might have a certain motivation level in order to help the organization to achieve its goal. And then another role of communication is communication as a source of information, where the upper management need to make sure that the information needed by the employees or by the workers should be fulfilled. There is no issues of overload communication. There shouldn't be issues of underload communication. So communication should be just enough in order for the employees to perform their role. Overload communication means that overload information means that there are too many information received by the employees, and this can become distract for them. And then underload communication is where there is too few information received by the employees, so that but that they cannot perform their function up to the level expected by the organization. And then communication also plays a very important role in altering individual attitude. And then communication also help the socializing process in the organization, where it said that we cannot survive without communication. So in communication, we believe that even your silence is also considered as communication. And then communication also considered as controlling process, where in organization context, you can control your staff, you can discipline your staff by using communication. And another role of communication is for emotional expression. So this is all this role, and besides there are a lot more, indicate that communication in this context play a very important role in organization. And when you check on how people spell communication, sometimes they spell it without an S, sometimes they spell communication with an S. So without S in this context, it refers to the interaction process. If they spell communication with an S, it means that they refer to the medium of interaction. So there are a lot, and when we discuss about the importance of communication a lot more, it can help establish effective leadership, because effective leadership requires communication, and how leader communicate has a lot of influence for the subordinate. And then help smooth working also requires communication, promote cooperation, peace, and all that also requires communication. Managing conflict also relate to communication or interaction that occur within the organization. So to make decision also requires interaction. And in terms of communication, we cannot view communication as only spoken, only what we are doing like right now, spoken. But actually spoken is only 7% of the whole communication process. There are a lot more that goes together with the spoken element. There is like how you use your voice, how you use your tone, how you play with your voice and your tone to to deliver the message, and then the role of your body language. So body language, for example, your eye contact, your facial expression, your posture, kinetic, your time management, etc., etc. So all this, if you can manage harmoniously, it can bring very good and effective communication, especially in management of the organization context. And yeah, communication basically is not only talking. Communication also involves drawing, reading, listening, gesturing, technology, and etc., etc. So we should be able to utilize all this channel, and we should have some communication skill in order to know which channel that bring the best for what message. Okay. So how does this communication relate to pandemic and work from home? So when we were asked to work from home, this means that we have to stay at home, and sometimes this can lead to doing less in terms of social interactions. Stay at home, work from home, sometimes turn our living space into new arena to study. What happens when daily activities are restricted to only stay at home? And when more people than ever are spending 24 per week in close proximity with their partners and their children, that is when they have families and they have to spend the whole time with their families. And sadly, in some cases, when we are alone, so we have, or single, then we have to spend our time alone. And this will somehow have certain influence, like in terms of our physical as well as our mental health. So this also relate to well-being of the person who involved in the pandemic issues, who were required to work from home, and etc., etc. So why, when we were asked to work from home and we have less interaction with our co-workers, brings mental health issue? Imagine this is your home, and normally this is a situation that occur when you are go through quarantine order, or you have to work from home. So these are the place that normally what we will do or move around. For example, if we have a very limited area at home, so we will move, for example, from our room to the kitchen, to living room, to probably have certain home office space, and probably if you are not feel comfortable, you know, you will stay at or sit at your couch, or you work with your computer, and then maybe you need some exercise there, and you can sit around. If you have balcony, if your house has no balcony, then you can look around from the windows, and sometimes you go to the watch television, and also go to, most of the time I will go to the bedroom. So we keep on doing the same things again and again. And this is one of the reason why some people feel like feel boring, feel didn't know what to do, feel frustration. So this is one of it is due to lacks of social interaction probably, or you interact with the same member at the same in the same house. For example, you interact with your children, you interact with your spouse, and if you have your mother there together, you interact with them, the same interaction. And this will bring you to some kind of missing something, because it's the changing environment. From normally we used to work in the office space, discuss together with our co-workers and etc., have fun together. But now we are living alone in a new environment that is at home. But these things is kind of limited for those who old generation like me, who have been working like for almost 20 years. So it's quite a drastic changes from this kind of office environment to the home environment, where you have to bring all your work home. Of course, before this, we used to bring also a few works home, just to make sure that, yeah, we did something at home, or we cannot finish this work, we bring it at home, but not seriously work at home. So we can still go to the office and have fun, chit chat, whatsoever with our friend. But now things has changed, and this probably maybe has an impact in terms of the employee well-being for me, and maybe for you as well. So we feel like when you work from home, you are missing something, and you are missing your friends, you are missing all this social interaction, and there are also other mental effects that probably influence those who have been experienced working at the office for a long time. But research indicate that for those who are just started to work, for the new generation, it might be okay for them. And in the long run, this work from home situation will be well adjusted to the younger generation as compared to the old generation. And then another things, communication and pandemic issues also lead to the use of more nonverbal communication during interaction, where we were encouraged to avoid direct contact and replace it by using some element of nonverbal communication. For example, we wave, we salute, we bow, whatsoever, to replace salam as a form of greeting, etc., etc. So all these are the using of nonverbal communication, which is increasing nowadays, and people start to create more and more sign and signal to replace the face-to-face interaction or the verbal communication. So why communication become an issue during pandemic and work from home? Because communication also contribute to healthy relationship in terms of family members, in terms of employee that works at the organization, and also another environment. So when many individuals working from home and they have less interaction with their co-workers, it will create another issues where the employees will feel like disconnect. They are limited to their family members and their interaction with their co-workers probably minimum by using certain technologies, and this can create what we feel like disconnected culture or environment that can lead to frustration of the employees. So when even though sometimes we are allowed to go out for social and whatsoever, but all this pandemic instruction requires us, for example, to wear masks. You know, when you are wearing masks, it's like some kind of halangan dalam berkomunikasi. It can become one of the halangan ni, obstacle ke apa, in terms of when you want to interact, you cannot really interact directly. So bila kita cakap tu sometimes like mumble ke whatsoever, jadi dia akan jadi satu masalah pula kepada kita. Besides that, sometimes when you use mask, you don't know with whom. You feel like tak kenal pun dia ni. Sometimes except that the smile tu kita nampak from dia gerak mata tu, you know, this person is smiling at me and whatsoever. So this also somehow limit your communication or limit your interaction with the others. Okay, so that is the importance of communication and the communication issues during pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's move to remote work communication issues. So I believe everybody knows what remote communication means. Remote communication, let me define to you from a very simple perspective actually. Remote communication is communicating at a distance via electronic tools that let you correspond with people outside of face-to-face communication. That is remote communication. And it also referred as virtual communication, and with the current pandemic issues, it's become the most important part of the organization. And there is a study that indicate that there are two different research findings in terms of those who work from home as compared to those who work at the office. So there is a study that indicate that remote workers or remote employees report that they are being happy, 22% of them happy with their job compared to the workers who are never remote. So as for me also, this is the first experience of doing work remotely, have to work from home. So sometimes I feel happy, sometimes I feel frustration, and I'm not sure, maybe we can discuss about this later. And then remote workers, why they feel happy? Because they report that they're having better work-life balance. This will contribute to, work from home will contribute to more work-life balance. They are more focused and they feel less stress. So we have to ask why they feel like that. Remote employees works 1.4 more days per month. In fact, they work extra than expected. If we expect employees to work, for example, 8 hours, they can work more as compared to their normal working hours. Where this also contribute to 3 additional days per week. So it means that they work extra hours without realize that they are working. And then research also indicate that there are some benefit in terms of people enjoy working from home because of the flexible schedule that provided while working remotely. And then, they enjoy working from any location, probably not only at home, probably they go to cyber cafe or whatsoever to work. And another benefit that raised by the respondent is they spend their time with their family. So working from home will help them to spend more time with their family. And then there are other reasons. So there are some people or some respondents who view working from home is things that give them more benefit. But some respondents say that, yes, we enjoy working from home, but there are problems that we have to face while working from home. So for example, almost half of the respondents says that technology issues, one of the factors that they feel as a problem when you are asked to work from home. Technology issues, and then communication issues, virtual meeting issues, lack of social interaction, we need to interact, and then boring, feel boring, and then feel difficult to collaborate. If your research, your work involve teams, then it's difficult to collaborate, and then not enough face-to-face time with the team, because the team members has to work at home and they all have their own whatsoever problem, and then it's not enough time to meet face-to-face or to meet via all this technology. And then for those, there are respondents also who feel lonely for not being able to interact with other employees, difficult accessing company resources, it's hard to access to the library, for example, and then difficult balancing family and work responsibility, because you used to work at your office, and then when you go home, complete your work and you go home and enjoy your time with your family, and suddenly you may have to mix between the two, and then the meeting can be unproductive because of many, we have done the meeting via all this new technology, and then stepping away from work, sometimes we really focus on the work, and then inadequate workspace, we are not ready to have the office at home, and then click contacting outside work hours. Sometimes our click contact us, WhatsApp us outside the office hours, 2 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 6 p.m. they contact to talk about all this work that is not completed. So you bring your works problem back home. And then another challenge is like lack of direct communication. Some people requires direct communication, some works need direct communication, sometimes data accessibility, poor visibility into click action. You don't know what your clicks are doing. Like when first experience, I wonder how many people have write a book during 3 months, stay at home, tertinggalnya saya tak tulis apa, I didn't write any article, so it put more stress to me because I didn't get access to what other people are doing. Macam hari ni, we can check on what other people are doing, apa semua. We can keep up with our work, our colleagues. But by doing it at home, sometimes we feel like we lost most of the things that we have seen so far. So why all this situation occur? Because all this pandemic, work from home, and many other issues requires computer mediated communication or technology mediated communication. So our interaction, even though it occurs face to face, but most of the time it is mediated. So there are a few issues in terms of mediated communication. For example, we use Zoom, Skype, and etc. And theory indicate that the less contact we have with people, the more we become suspicious of people, and then this can make other people become more defensive and lead to a vicious spiral where isolation leads to suspicion. We feel like suspicion, what other people are doing, what's going on there, and also whatsoever. But there are some negative, positive effect also, because we become more competent in terms of using technology. So at my age, for example, I'm always scared of using all this technology, but with the pandemic situation and work from home, we try to learn all this Zoom, Skype, Webex, Google Meet, etc., and feel like, oh yeah, I enjoy learning. Okay, but somehow in terms of using all these tools and technologies, there should be some guideline. We cannot set a meeting. For example, I have experienced some people call for a meeting. They said 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's such a very long hours. Actually, maybe because they feel like, okay, we're just using technology so we can invite you to have a long meeting. Actually, no, it cannot, because it needs some guideline. You need to treat, even though it is by using mediated, but you need to treat it like like face-to-face interaction. People need break. So like our student also, for 3 hours lecture, they need break. So maybe you can have, like normally you have coffee hours during normal interaction. Maybe you can have coffee hours during Zoom or during Webex session or whatsoever, that we have to think because we have to be considerate to the others who involved in the mediated interaction, like what we want to. But still we have to remember, mediated communication cannot replace face-to-face interaction. So even though there are a lot of debate on remote work versus located work, this issue still there is still no right and wrong answer. So in-person work has issues, remote work also has issues, especially in terms of communication issues. And this is very interesting if you want to conduct study. So why? Yeah, why this remote work become issues in terms of communication? First, because collaboration can be tougher, can be very challenging. If you involve in a teamwork, it's quite a challenge for you to collaborate. And then staying connected. This is one big issue that people feel like if they work at home, they are not connected. So for in the office, normal working situation, you can really easily talk to your office mate. Now you can go and meet them at their office and say hi and whatsoever. But in the remote work, by using technology, all this, sometimes people will feel like lonely, and sometimes they feel like disconnected. They don't know what their colleagues are doing. And also, in terms of accountability, accountability means that you don't know how to create accountability. Normally the employees will ask, what is my team working on? What are they doing? So it's easy for them to feel disconnect and feel the employee feel like out of touch. So, and another issue is how to make the employees work effectively. For example, we need to provide them the right equipment. So some staff have not sufficient equipment, like our subordinate who has no computer, the admin staff has no computer at home, didn't have sufficient phone to work, and then some of us have issue in terms of set working hours. We cannot really spend our time 8 to 9 to 8 to 5 to do the work, and then sometimes we didn't have designated space work. All this become issues in terms of how to make this work from home, pandemic and communication effectively. So, and this issue also, become more important since work from home and mediated communication requires, for example, computer skills. Those who have computer skill have more advantage compared to those who have less. And then self-reliance, self-discipline, time management, all this become important issues if we want to make sure that remote from home is a success. So I have to really make it very fast because I think dah dekat pukul 3. Okay, so effective remote work communication strategies. So for the organization that maybe they want to reconsider about the communication strategies that they have been using so far, maybe I can suggest a few things that they might use. First, when you want to speak, when you use mediated technology, you have to assume that, never assume someone understand what you are saying. You cannot assume that everyone understand what you are saying, because when you speak directly or face-to-face, you can use both your verbal as well as non-verbal communication. But in virtual communication context, for example, you cannot see the whole of the source tu, kita tak nampak the whole tu. In this context, mungkin you nampak saya separuh saja and you can see my hand movement. Tapi mungkin pada hakikatnya there is a lot more message yang saya bawa together that come with my verbal communication. It's like this cartoon. How was I supposed to know? I told you 1,000,000 times, but I need 1,000,001. And there is a joke also about the emails. I can understand your email tone. Email sometimes it has no tone. Jadi kadang-kadang tu we have to really know all this medium communication. And then another thing said, and in communication strategies, that you need to give training to your staff in order to make sure that you are crystal clear with your employees by answering this question before sending any written communication, because this interaction involve written communication also. So you, like a normal communication rules, this rule also works when you have to communicate by using any mediated tools. Please complete this by what? I like to review what? Please speak what? Please, and all that. So give direct and clear instruction to your employees. And then you know how you have to provide what, when, and how. Leaders have to make sure what is the contact, when is the deadline, how am I supposed to complete the task. Because when you work from home, maybe I assume, tapi it's create some time of relaxed environment. Bila ni dia tak tahu, and then when you come back to normal work, then banyak benda yang that you feel like missing. Banyak surat yang tak sampai, it didn't meet on time, kita pun tak pasti siapa yang buat, who did what. Tambah-tambah dalam konteks memang you assign rotation punya kerja. And then this is very important in terms of new communication strategies, because before this probably organization did not realize or didn't have a clear virtual communication policy. There is organization need to create a clear remote work communication plans. Yang ni we have to, for example, if the organization didn't have expertise, then you have to ask the communication expert and in your organization to come out with a work communication plans. Apa yang patut ada, what type of message that should convey with what channel, apa semua. All this have to be made clear to the employees. Ni we can ask, for example, researcher to help, or those communication expert help to come out with this work communication plans and what factor to be considered. And then we have to have skill to know the right tools that you can use. For example, you have to know the media richness as element. For example, face-to-face. Face-to-face ni of course is a very rich channel. So we have to know which message that can be conveyed by using, need to be conveyed by using face-to-face. Which message yang boleh that we can use or we can convey only via telephone. What message to be conveyed via video conference? What two-way chat, when it is suitable to use two-way chat? And then ask, what are the weakness of using answering machine? What are the weakness of using email? What are the weakness of using letter, etc., etc. So all this we have to make sure that we are using the right channel and with the right message. And one thing for sure is when you work, when you manage remotely, make sure that video call whatsoever is your priority, because video can bring both verbal as well as non-verbal message across to the receiver. And then when you plan for your virtual communication guideline or whatsoever, the organization need to define the single source of truth, because with the current technology, anybody can become a source. People can forward the message around. Sampai kita pun tak tahu ni message from whom, because of they are really using this forward and forward. Even message from last the source lost, sumber tu hilang. Kita tak tahu sumber tu daripada mana. And before this, in the traditional practices, communication normally from the top go through the middle managers, then go to the lower level of employees. But now no, communication dah haywire, pergi sana, ke jabatan sana, pergi sana, and it's cross many level. So kita pun tak tahu who's the single source to be trust in order to really faham tentang apa ni, instruction, arahan, commands, and dan sebagainya. And then another skill is that be proactive in your work, remote work. There is you have to be proactive in order to help your employees so that they won't feel disconnect. They won't feel not comfortable or they feel like they have problem or boring and etc. etc. So employees will often focus on the work that needs to be done because they are physically distant from their co-workers. It's easy for them to feel isolated and emotionally distant from their co-workmate. So how the management or how the leader can help the employees to overcome all these issues of feeling isolated, emotionally distant, dan feel like it's not accountability tu tak ada, not my responsibility, I didn't have enough facilities to work at home, etc. etc. And suddenly bila come back to the normal work environment, dia banyak kerja-kerja yang dah backlog dan sebagainya. So it didn't contribute to a very proactive environment. Yes, the leader ni kena be creative in order to macam mana lah nak guna communication elements ni, how to interact with the employees during work hours dekat rumah tu. So they can call the employees, they can have Webex session, they can have chat session one-to-one with their employees. But before that, they have to set certain goal for the employees to achieve. Then boleh ada sesi Webex, sembang, apa semua, cakap-cakap apa semua with their employees. Jadi employees tu akan rasa connect balik, then they will feel that they are part of the department or the organization. So you have to create a vibrant in nature while you through communication in order to motivate your employees who have to work from home. So communicators or leaders need to be creative. But if you have a good virtual communication plan, then this can help the leaders to overcome all these disconnected or boring issues whatsoever. And then another thing, normally during face-to-face interaction, we can get feedback easily, but during work from home also, the organization or the leader need to practice open line of communication and try to get feedback from the employees. So why? Because two-way communication is very important. So the leader need to set up an avenues for feedback, an avenue for the employees to give feedback to them while they are doing their work from home. So you cannot close your office and you also work from home, but at the same time, it's hard for your employees to reach you. So you need to create a culture where your employees will feel that their feedback is valuable, their feedback is needed. So what I would like to suggest is when work from home order and the management of the organization need to do some brainstorming or discussion with their employees how to improve the work environment, the communication, etc. etc. Because we will probably experience the same thing again. Probably 1 month from now, kita akan kena lagi arahan to work from home. So takkan kita nak buat benda yang sama. We cannot repeat the same thing. So how to make sure that we really help the organization to achieve the goal. So by having all this discussion, post-mortem, work from home, etc. dan sebagainya will help you to improve or to help those who yang tak pernah work from home to get adjusted and feel connect back to the organisation. So normally kadang-kadang saya tanya juga staff kat sini, what are you doing at home and all that, because they have to write after work from home, and the staff ni were asked by the registrar to write apa yang dia perbuat dekat rumah tu. And selalunya saya akan dengar the problem yang dia orang kata bahawa tak boleh access Prof ni, phone kami ni, nanti anak berebut lah, komputer tak ada lah, tak boleh check email lah, apa semua. So the organisation need to take a proactive action in order to, if kata pandemic ni last like 2 years from now, so how to go about doing all these things and make a full use of the situation so that your employees will become productive at par masa dia kerja di office ataupun when they have to do their work at home. So being academician, maybe kita macam we are able to do the work from home. We can write article, we can do this, we can do that, we can check what our colleagues are doing because they used to share in Facebook whatsoever. Okay, easy. But for some employees yang kerja mereka maybe didn't allow for such thing to happen, ini memang kita akan we should worry about their performance, about their productivity dan sebagainya. But we need to maybe reset the target because we have to consider when they stay at home, they are the family, so they need to balance their work life dan sebagainya, because it's create a different environment. Because this thing kita tengok when kita buat kelas, have class with our students, sometimes kita nampak family members dia yang cuba intai-intai kat situ, try to tengok apa yang you sedang buat dan and so on. So this cohabitance ni also become one of the factor that sometimes hinder juga communication, hinder mediated communication, inilah keberkesanannya. So and then I think that's all about what I have discussed. So as a conclusion, the simple